is Nebraska football. From the campus of the University of Nebraska in Lincoln, here's your host, Natalie Taylor.
There's a familiar face here in Lincoln, and Husker fans are hoping that the return of Coach Bo Pelini will put Nebraska football back on top of the Big 12. Well, here's Dave Armstrong to begin our in-depth look at the Cornhuskers and their new head man. Dave?
Thanks, Natalie. Things are really starting to heat up in Nebraska as Bo Pelini takes over as the head coach of the Huskers. Pelini comes to Nebraska after a stint as the defensive coordinator for the national champion LSU Tigers. But he's certainly no stranger to the folks in Lincoln. Pelini served as the defensive coordinator for Nebraska in 2003. And in fact, as their interim coach that year, he led Nebraska to an Alamo Bowl victory over Michigan State. Pelini inherits a much different team than that 03 squad. Last year, Nebraska finished 5-7. They started the season strong, winning 4 of their first 5 games, and that one loss came against then top-ranked USC. Then in October, things began to unravel. The Huskers lost their next 5 games. Joe Gans took over at quarterback against Kansas, and the offense began to click. But the defense struggled against the Jayhawks, giving up 76 points in the loss. The next week, Gans and the offense lit up the scoreboard with a 73-31 trouncing of Kansas State. In the final game of the season against Colorado, the offense once again put up big numbers, but the defense could not stop the Buffaloes in a 65-51 loss. This fall, the offense will be looking to hold on to the progress they made at the end of 2007. Quarterback Joe Gans threw for over 400 yards in each of the final 3 games. The Huskers bring back an experienced offensive line, and Marion Lucky will return for his senior season at I-back after 1,000 yards rushing last year.
We're just trying to get in the fall and just really work hard on every play, every snap, every practice rep, everything we have to do.
We have a lot of weapons, and but what we're looking for is to establish a running game more. And last year it was tough last year because we got behind early, and you kind of had to throw the running game out the window. But we're going to be in a lot more games this year. It's going to be a lot closer, and I think we really need to establish a running game.
The defense returns 6 starters, but Pelini will be looking to ramp up the intensity level this fall. Bo's older brother, Carl, is taking over as the defensive coordinator. The folks at Nebraska are determined to bring the black shirts back to the place of prominence in Lincoln. And with his defensive coaching prowess, Bo Pelini could be just the man to do it. He certainly has the credentials. It was his defense that helped lead LSU to the BCS title last season. Add that to his understanding of Husker tradition, and he certainly has the motivation to get the black shirts back on track.
Our defense as a unit, the intake, can believe everything he says because everywhere he's been successful, especially coming from a national championship team, which our team has. I mean, I've never seen so many of our players in the summer have perfect attendance at all workouts. So it shows our commitment, our dedication.
This fall, the Huskers open with 5 straight home games against Western Michigan, San Jose State, New Mexico State, Virginia Tech, and then Missouri. Then they hit the road to play Texas Tech and Iowa State. Baylor comes to town on October 25th. Pelini then takes his squad to Norman to play the Sooners of Oklahoma. Kansas makes the trip north to Lincoln on November the 8th. And the Huskers round out the schedule with a visit to Kansas State and a home game against Colorado. Well, the Husker faithful are really excited to have Bo Pelini back as their head coach. The evidence of that was witnessed by 80,000, a sellout crowd for the spring game. Yes, the spring game. So if the offense can continue to play well and the defense can return to their black shirt glory days, who knows? Nebraska could be a factor in the Big 12 North again. Natalie?
Thanks, Dave. And you mentioned that this is Coach Bo Pelini's return to Nebraska. Well, every member of his Nebraska coaching staff has previous experience working in the Big 12. Coach Bo Pelini may be known for his dominant defensive ways, but this season he inherits an offense that rewrote the passing record books in 2007. So will that be the winning combination that Nebraska needs to get back to its winning ways? Well, we thought we'd ask the new head coach himself to talk about that and much more.
It's been a good year. You know, it's been something that, you know, obviously national championships, whether you're an assistant, a head coach, whatever, to be a part of something like that doesn't come off, you get around real often. And it was a great experience and, you know, kind of a good way to finish things off. And then to have Coach Osborne call and offer me the job at Nebraska, it's been something that I've been working hard for a long time and hoping to become a head coach someday, and for that to finally happen, especially at a place like Nebraska with all the tradition and the passion associated with the program. And it's been great. But you know, at the same time, there's a tremendous responsibility that comes with it, and it changes your life pretty quick. Well, I'm glad we have you know, some continuity in the program. I'm excited that you know, a lot of the terminology is the same. You know, we didn't have to overhaul the offense. You know, but it's going to be different. Coach, you know, Sean Watson's different than you know, he has. You know, this isn't his first rodeo as an offensive coordinator. He's been there, done that, and had a lot of success. And you know, himself, Ted Gilmore were both on the staff before, and I'm sure they learned a lot from Coach Callahan. But you know, Watson's got to do it his way, and then we have surrounded him with you know, Ron Brown and Barney Cotton and Tim Beck, some guys with a lot of experience and a lot of different perspective, different backgrounds. I think they've meshed well, and you're going to see the offense develop as Coach Watts wants it to, but it's going to be different. And it's going to be, I think he's going to pare it down a little bit, but there's enough continuity that's going to allow our players to do that. I just want him to not put too much on himself. You know, he's got to just develop, run the offense, and do what we're asking him to do. What, you know, Coach Watson coaches the quarterbacks, and he's going to be, you know, Joe. You know, he's the guy, but you know, he has a great demeanor about him. He has that sense of confidence and a belief that he's going to get the job done. That when he walks into the huddle, it radiates through that whole group, and they believe in him. It's obvious, and I think he's going to have a great year. I really look forward to him doing some good special things. We need to be a physical football team, and you know, it's not about stats and throwing. You know how many yards can we throw for? That might, you know, we have to do what we have to do every week to win the game, and that means running the football. You know, you have to have a physical football team, and you have to be able to run the ball to have success and win championships. And fortunately, we have a good offensive line. We have a very, very capable stable of running backs and some experience there. So I feel real good about that. We have guys that are capable. The attitude's been good. You know, there's a lot to do, and you know, anytime you're installing a new scheme, a new defense, you know, new terminology, there's a lot to learn. But the guys have been very receptive. They've been excited. I like their attitude and their work ethic, and if that continues, we'll get them taught, and we'll be able to go out there and be a handful for any offense that we play against. And once again, I'm about getting guys to compete every single day and stay focused on the process that's going to get us where we want it to go. You know, because if we stay focused on the process and we keep trying to get to that level we haven't attained yet, and measure ourselves against ourselves, and continue with that process, then that pot of gold, which is the goals that we set, will be within reach. And it's when you get all caught up in where you want to be and you lose sight of how you want to get there, that's when you encounter problems. And that's not, you know, that's what we talk to our guys about, you know, both on the staff and the players.
Coach Pelini has been around football, both coaching and playing, for almost 40 years. but also has a knack for another sport, basketball. Coach was a standout high school basketball player and was even recruited by Nebraska's rival Mizzou at one time. In fact, Coach Pelini has been known to keep a basketball in his football office. Well, stay right there because we have more on Coach Pelini and his team coming up. This is your 2008 University of Nebraska football preview.